The sky above New Carthia shimmered with colors. Fireworks painted the night and the sound of cheering filled the air. After years of interplanetary war, peace had finally come. The great alliance of alien worlds had gathered to celebrate the surrender of the Terran Empire, humanity. The city's central plaza glowed with banners of victory. Dozens of species from across the stars were there. Tall crystalline beings from Erythra, insectoid diplomats from the Ralk, and cloud-like entities that shimmered with light instead of sound. It was a night of joy. The war that had once spread across 10 systems was over. Humanity, the stubborn, fiery species from a small blue planet, had been defeated. For the first time in centuries, there was peace. The Grand Chancellor of the Alliance, a being with wings like molten glass, rose above the crowd. "Let this night mark the end of human arrogance," she declared, her voice echoing through the plaza. "Let the galaxy breathe again, free from the chaos of Earth's children." The crowd roared in approval. Music swelled and streams of glowing mist danced through the air. For the Alliance, it was a triumph. For the first time, the humans were gone, scattered, silent, and powerless. But far above them, unseen in the orbit of the ruined Earth, something stirred. Captain Elias Ward watched the stars from the cracked bridge of the Resolute, one of the last surviving human ships. Its hull was scarred, its crew small, but its heart still burned with defiance. The war had ended, yes, but not in their hearts. "Status report," Ward said quietly. His voice was steady, but his eyes were sharp. Lieutenant Sarah Kim glanced at the flickering console. "Power cells at 30%. Life support stable for another week, maybe less. Still no signal from command." Ward nodded slowly. "Command doesn't exist anymore." The words hung heavy in the air. Humanity's great command stations, once filled with brilliant minds and bold leaders, were gone. The cities on Earth were silent, hidden under clouds of ash. "Sir," Sarah said, "we've detected something." "Strange," Ward turned. "Strange?" "A transmission. Very weak, coming from Earth's surface." The bridge fell silent. Earth had been declared uninhabitable months ago. The bombardment from the Alliance had burned most of its surface. No human life was supposed to remain. Ward leaned forward. "Can you clean the signal?" Sarah worked the console. Static filled the bridge, then faintly, a sound. A voice. "To anyone still alive, this is not the end." Everyone froze. The voice was human. Ward's eyes narrowed. "Origin?" "Coordinates, Old New York Zone," Sarah said softly. Ward stared at the broken image on the screen. A map of Earth's surface, scarred with craters. There, amid the destruction, a single signal blinked faintly. After a long silence, Ward spoke. "Plot a course, and sir, the planet is off limits. Radiation, debris—" "I know," Ward's voice hardened. "But if someone's still down there, we owe it to them." The crew exchanged uncertain glances, but none objected. Humanity had lost everything, but even in defeat, they never ignored a cry for help. Meanwhile, back on New Carthia, the celebration reached its height. Holographic fireworks burst into the shape of stars, and the alien orchestra played a haunting melody that vibrated through every stone. The Chancellor smiled proudly as she looked over the endless crowd. "Let it be remembered," she said, raising her glowing staff, "that the human threat is—" Her words stopped. A sound, faint, yet piercing, echoed across the plaza. The musicians froze. The crowd turned their heads. It was a voice. It came from the great holoscreens surrounding the square, screens meant to display images of victory. But now static danced across them. The lights flickered, then the voice spoke again. "This is Captain Elias Ward of the Terran Fleet. To any who still hear this, humanity still stands." The crowd gasped. The Chancellor's wings flared in alarm. "What is this?" she demanded. Her aides rushed to the controls. "Impossible." The human network was destroyed. But the voice continued, calm and steady. "You can burn our worlds, but you cannot silence us. You can shatter our ships, but not our will. Humanity is not finished." Then the holoscreens flickered and went black. The entire plaza fell silent. The great celebration of victory, the music, the laughter, the speeches, stopped cold. Smoke from the fireworks drifted through the air, curling between silent faces. For the first time since the war's end, fear crept into the hearts of the victors. Somewhere in that smoke, someone whispered, "It can't be real, can it?" Back aboard the Resolute, Ward sat in the captain's chair, surrounded by the soft hum of failing engines. "Transmission sent," Sarah reported. "Across every open frequency." Ward nodded. "Good. Let them know we're not gone." A faint smile touched his lips. "Let them remember who we are." As the ship descended toward the burned surface of Earth, the crew watched through the viewport. The ruins of cities, the shadows of forests, the silent oceans turned to glass. But among the desolation there was still a light, the signal they had detected pulsing faintly from the heart of the old world. Sarah whispered, "Do you think it's real, sir?" "Someone down there?" Ward looked out at the dead planet below. "Hope is always real, Lieutenant. It's what keeps us human." And as the Resolute entered the stormy clouds of Earth, the faint echo of their captain's words, broadcast across the stars, continued to ripple through space. Out in the darkness, 100 alien fleets paused their celebrations. Admirals demanded answers. Commanders checked their sensors, because through the static and smoke one message remained clear. The storm around Earth was silent now, like a sleeping giant. Dark clouds stretched endlessly, glowing faintly from the fires that still burned below. The Resolute moved carefully through the atmosphere, its hull creaking from years of damage. Inside the ship, the crew worked in quiet focus. They had heard the same voice from Earth that had echoed across the galaxy, and none could shake its effect. Captain Elias Ward stood near the viewport, staring at the gray horizon. "Keep descent slow," he said. "We don't know how bad the atmosphere is." Lieutenant Sarah Kim adjusted the controls. "Sensors show heavy radiation pockets, but there's a small clear zone near the signal coordinates." Ward nodded. "Then that's where we'll land." The bridge lights flickered as the Resolute pushed through the thick air. Below them, the shape of continents appeared, broken, dark, and unrecognizable. Where once oceans had shimmered blue, now lay wastelands of glass and ash. Humanity's home was dead, but something was still calling from its heart. Far away, on the planet New Carthia, panic replaced celebration. The plaza that had once been full of laughter now buzzed with fear and confusion. Chancellor Aurelian paced back and forth inside the command chamber, her wings glowing with agitation. "Explain this," she demanded. "How did a human signal appear after their network was destroyed?" Her chief technician bowed his head. "Chancellor, it is impossible. Every human relay was dismantled. Their satellites gone. Their bases burned." "Then how?" she said sharply. "Did I just hear a human captain speak across half the galaxy?" The technician hesitated. "Perhaps it was recorded?" "Foolish," Aurelian snapped. "It was live. I felt the pulse of the transmission." She turned toward the massive holographic display showing the galaxy map. The symbol of Earth, marked long ago as extinct zone, now flickered with a faint signal. Aurelian narrowed her eyes. "Send a probe immediately. I want confirmation." "Yes, Chancellor." As her aides hurried away, Aurelian stared at the blinking light on the map. For the first time in years, the galaxy's most powerful leader felt something she hadn't known since her youth. Unease. Back aboard the Resolute, the crew finally broke through the upper clouds. The view that greeted them stole their breath. Below lay the ruins of New York, or what was left of it. The once great city had turned into a wasteland of broken towers, half buried under layers of dust and molten stone. But amid the darkness, one thing stood out. A small area still glowing with energy. "There," Sarah pointed. Signal source confirmed. "It's coming from that old structure." Ward squinted at the screen. "That's the old United Nations building." Sarah frowned. "You mean the place where the war first started?" Ward nodded slowly. "Fitting, isn't it? The place where humanity once tried to unite the world? Maybe the same place calling us home," he straightened. "Prepare a landing team. I'll go down myself." The shuttle cut through the clouds like a silver blade, engines humming weakly. Inside, Ward sat with 2 soldiers and Sarah. The air shimmered with heat as they descended, and the sky glowed orange from distant fires. As they landed, dust rose in thick waves, coating everything in gray. Ward stepped out first. The air was thin but breathable. The wind carried the faint smell of ash and metal. He looked around. What had once been a city of millions was now silent. Twisted steel reached toward the sky like broken fingers. Sarah adjusted her scanner. "The signal is close, sir. Just below this structure," Ward nodded. "Then let's find it." They moved through the ruins, careful with every step. The ground cracked beneath their boots. Occasionally, bits of glass shimmered faintly in the dust, fragments of a world long gone. Suddenly, Sarah stopped. "Sir, I'm detecting movement." Ward raised his rifle. "Where?" "There." A shadow flickered between the broken walls. The soldiers aimed, hearts pounding. But when the figure stepped into the light, they froze. It was a human, an old man wrapped in tattered gear, his face lined with exhaustion but alive, unmistakably alive. He raised his hands slowly. "You're real," he whispered. "You actually came." Ward lowered his weapon in disbelief. "Who are you?" The man's voice trembled. "Dr. Marcus Hale, former head of the Terran Science Council. Or what's left of it." Sarah blinked. "But you were declared missing." "Years ago," he smiled faintly. "Missing, yes. Dead, no. We hid underground. There are more of us." Ward took a step forward. "More survivors?" Hale nodded. "About 100. We've been sending the same message for months, hoping someone would hear us," Sarah whispered. "And the Alliance heard it first." The doctor's expression darkened. "Then we have little time. They'll come." Back in space, the Alliance probe reached Earth's orbit. Its sensors scanned the surface and detected unmistakable human life signs. The signal reached the Chancellor within minutes. Her eyes widened. "Alive on Earth?" The technician nodded nervously. "Yes, Chancellor. Multiple human signatures confirmed." Aurelian's voice dropped to a whisper. "Then humanity is not finished." She turned sharply. "Assemble the fleet. I want Earth sealed before those humans spread their defiance." "Yes, Chancellor." The order went out, across a dozen systems to every warship that once fought the humans. Engines ignited, and space filled again with the glow of armadas moving toward one small, broken world. On Earth, Ward and his team followed Dr. Hale through the underground tunnels beneath the ruined city. The walls were lined with old technology, generators, oxygen tanks, and flickering lights. Sarah looked around in wonder. "You built this all by hand?" Hale nodded. "After the bombardment, we found shelter here. The radiation was high, but the tunnels kept us alive." Ward glanced at him. "Why keep sending the message? You must have known the Alliance would detect it." Hale's eyes hardened. "Because silence is death, Captain. As long as someone hears our voice, humanity still exists." They entered a large chamber filled with people, men, women, and children. Some wore ragged clothes, others uniforms covered in dust. Their faces lit up as they saw Ward's crew. A young boy ran forward. "You came from the stars?" Ward knelt, smiling gently. "Yes, we did." The boy's eyes were bright with hope. "Then we can go home again?" Ward hesitated. "We'll try." The crowd murmured softly, some crying, some laughing. It had been years since they'd seen any sign of the outside world. Dr. Hale turned to Ward. "You understand, Captain. They think the war is over. But for us it never ended. We've been waiting for someone to remind the galaxy that we still stand." Ward nodded. "Then that's what we'll do. Together." Above them, in the night sky, streaks of light began to appear. Alliance ships were entering orbit. Sarah's scanner beeped urgently. "Sir, incoming fleet, wait multiple contacts." "They've found us." Ward's jaw tightened. "Then it begins again." He turned to the survivors. "Everyone underground now. Prepare the defense systems." Dr. Hale gave a grim smile. "We may be few, Captain, but we're human. That's always been enough." Outside, thunder rolled across the ruined city as the first Alliance dropships broke through the clouds. And in the darkness, the faint echo of a human broadcast still lingered. The message that started it all. The sky above the ruined Earth glowed red. Dozens of Alliance warships hung in orbit, their engines burning like angry stars. Their presence darkened the planet below, turning day into shadow. In the underground base beneath Old New York, the air trembled as alarms rang. People rushed through narrow tunnels, their faces pale but determined. For the first time in years, they had seen the sky, and now the enemy was coming to take it away again. Captain Elias Ward stood at the command station. His uniform worn and dust-covered, yet his eyes sharp with purpose. "How many ships?" he asked. Lieutenant Sarah Kim checked the scanner. "At least 40 in orbit, sir." Smaller landing crafts are breaking through the atmosphere now. Dr. Marcus Hale stepped forward, his hands clasped behind his back. They'll come fast. The Alliance never leaves unfinished work. They'll make sure the human voice is silenced once and for all. Ward nodded slowly. Then we'll give them something to remember. He turned to the crew. Get the generators online. Activate every defense turret we still have. I want the surface scanners working and the old shield projectors ready. One of the engineers, a young woman named Tara, spoke nervously. Captain, those projectors haven't been used since before the bombardment. They might fail. Ward gave her a steady look. Then fix them. If they hold even 10 minutes, it might be enough. Outside, the first Alliance dropships descended through the burning clouds. Their hulls shimmered with golden armor, and bright lights cut through the dust. They landed across the ruins, deploying tall insect-like soldiers with glowing visors. One of them, Commander Yalrix of the Ralk Dominion, raised a clawed hand. Scan for the human signal, he ordered. No survivors must remain. The soldiers spread out, their metallic feet echoing through the empty streets. They carried plasma rifles, scanning every shadow. The city was silent except for the wind and the faint hum of machines. Then, in the distance, a sound, a low hum growing louder. Before they could react, a burst of blue energy exploded from beneath the ground, striking one of the dropships and sending it crashing into a building. Ambush! Yalrix roared. Hidden panels in the streets opened, revealing old human defense turrets. They fired bursts of ion energy, cutting through the dust and striking the advancing troops. Ward's voice came through the speakers. You wanted to see if humanity was still alive? Welcome back to Earth. The soldiers scrambled for cover as more blasts came from below. The ancient defense grid, long thought destroyed, was alive again. In the control room underground, Sarah worked furiously at her console. Shields are holding, sir, but power is dropping fast. They're stronger than before. Ward watched the screen showing the surface battle. We don't need to win. We just need to make them hesitate. Dr. Hale moved beside him. You're sending a message again, aren't you? Ward nodded. Every battle tells a story. If we show them humanity still fights, still refuses to bow, then others will hear it too. Meanwhile, in orbit, the Alliance fleet watched in confusion. Reports came in rapidly. Human weapons were firing, human troops were resisting. Chancellor Aurelian appeared on the fleet's command channel, her expression tight. Commander Yalrix, report. Yalrix's voice came through, heavy with static. Resistance detected. Human defenses active. Casualties rising. The Chancellor's wings flared. Impossible. Earth was burned to ash. It seems, Yalrix growled. Ash can still burn. Aurelian turned to her officers. Prepare bombardment protocols. If they will not die quietly, they will die completely. The officers hesitated. But Chancellor, the surface is unstable. Another strike could crack the planet, then so be it, she said coldly. No human voice will echo again. Back on Earth, the survivors felt the tremor of explosions above. Dust fell from the ceilings as people clung to the walls. Sarah looked up from her console. Orbital weapons charging. They're preparing another strike. Ward clenched his jaw. How long? Maybe 10 minutes before impact. Ward took a deep breath. Then we need to get that voice out. Dr. Hale frowned. What do you mean? The message, Ward said. We have to send it again. Louder this time. Across every channel, every frequency. Let the galaxy hear us before the end. Hale hesitated, then nodded. It will drain all remaining power. Ward smiled faintly. Then let's make it worth it. They began rerouting power from the shields and weapons into the old communication array buried deep underground. The lights flickered and the room dimmed. Sarah turned. Captain, once this goes through, the shields will fail. Ward looked at her calmly. Then we stand together when it happens. Outside, the battle raged. Human defense drones rose from hidden bunkers, firing beams of blue light into the sky. They were old, rusty, and slow, but they fought like their makers. Commander Yalrix's forces struggled to advance. They're everywhere, one of his soldiers shouted. Then burn it all. Yalrix snarled. He raised his weapon, but before he could fire, a voice echoed across the battlefield. Broadcast through the very frequencies they used, it was human. This is Captain Elias Ward of Earth. To the Alliance, to the galaxy, to anyone who still listens, humanity still stands. The words carried through every communicator, every screen, every ship in orbit. You thought victory meant silence, Ward continued. But humans do not vanish. We rebuild, we endure. We rise from the ashes you left behind. If you come for us again, remember this day, the day you feared a broken planet. The message spread like wildfire through the communication networks. Even on distant planets far from the battle, the voice was heard. Traders, soldiers, and citizens paused to listen. For the first time in years, the galaxy heard the strength in a human voicing, and it trembled. Aboard the Resolute, orbiting above the battle, the remaining crew watched as enemy ships shifted formation. Some began to retreat, others hesitated. Sarah's voice came through, weak but determined. "Transmission complete, Captain." The whole galaxy heard it. Ward smiled faintly through the static. "Then our job's done." Suddenly alarms flared. "Orbital bombardment incoming." A massive beam of light shot from the Alliance flagship, cutting through the clouds and striking the surface. The ground shook violently. Tunnels collapsed. In the control room, Dr. Hale held onto the console as dust filled the air. "The shield is gone." Ward grabbed Sarah and pulled her behind cover as another tremor ripped through the base. The lights flickered, then went out completely. For a moment, there was only darkness. Then slowly, a faint glow appeared from the far end of the chamber, a soft blue light coming from the communication core. Sarah stared. "Sir, it's still active." Ward smiled faintly. "Good. That means our words are still traveling." Above them, through the smoke and chaos, the human broadcast continued to echo across the stars. In orbit, the Alliance fleet ceased fire. Sensors showed rising energy levels from Earth's core. The bombardment had destabilized it. "Chancellor," a voice warned, "we must retreat or risk destruction." Aurelian's eyes were cold. "Retreat, then. But mark my words, humanity will not rise again." Yet as the fleet turned away, the human signal still played in their communication channels. No matter how many systems they shut down, they could still hear the echo. Ward's final words repeated endlessly. "You cannot silence the human spirit." Down below, the survivors emerged from the dust. The tunnels were half collapsed, but they were alive. The sky above glowed faintly from the retreating ships. Dr. Hale coughed and looked around. "They're gone." "For now," Sarah smiled weakly. "We did it, sir. They know we're still here." Ward nodded, staring up at the smoky sky. "Yes, but this is only the beginning." He turned to the survivors and to the men, women, and children who refused to give up. "The galaxy heard us today, and someday they'll come again. When they do, we'll be ready." As the wind carried away the last of the smoke, the faint blue light of the communication tower flickered once more. The message that started everything, the message that made the celebration stop cold, continued its endless journey through the void. Humanity still stands. The smoke from the ruined cities of Earth had barely cleared, but the planet was alive once again. From underground bunkers and hidden shelters, humanity watched the sky with a mixture of fear and hope. The first wave of the Alliance fleet had retreated, but the threat was far from over. The galaxy had seen a human voice, calm, defiant, and alive, and the ripples were just beginning. Captain Elias Ward walked among the survivors in the ruined streets, his boots crunching over glass and ash. Dust clung to his clothes, but his eyes burned with purpose. Around him, children and adults emerged from hiding, faces streaked with soot, eyes wide with wonder. "Captain," Sarah said quietly, "the message, it's reaching far. Other worlds are receiving it." Ward's brow furrowed. "Other worlds?" "Sensors picked up reaction signals from 3 systems already," Sarah explained. "Traders, freighters, even minor colonies. They all intercepted our broadcast. Some are curious, some are inspired." Ward's jaw tightened. "Curious and inspired are not enough. If the Alliance sees this, they'll strike harder, but..." He paused, looking up at the sky streaked with the fading lights of departing ships. "Maybe hope can travel faster than fear." Dr. Marcus Hale joined them, holding a tablet showing live galactic feeds. "Captain, I have reports. Several systems are questioning the Alliance's claim that humanity is gone. Some fleets are delaying missions. Some leaders are calling for diplomacy." Ward nodded. "Then we have a chance, not just to survive, but to remind the galaxy that humans are not weak." Above the planet, the remaining human ships cautiously scanned the skies. The Resolute and its small fleet were patched and scarred, but they flew with determination. Sarah monitored the communications console. Captain, the transmissions are bouncing. Other species are repeating them now, sending messages to their neighbors about humanity's survival. The signal is growing. Ward leaned against the railing, a quiet pride in his eyes. That's what we needed. One voice became many. Humanity may be small, but the echo of our will is strong. On New Carthia, Chancellor Aurelian's fury was unmatched. Her massive war room was filled with alarms and flashing holograms. "Explain," she shouted. "How is the human voice spreading?" "They are supposed to be extinct," her chief technician stammered. "Chancellor, it appears, the human communication array underground survived the bombardment. The signal was broadcast across multiple frequencies simultaneously, and some independent systems unaware of Alliance control picked it up and forwarded it." Aurelian's wings flared with anger. "Forwarded it? To the galaxy? This is unacceptable. Send the fleet back. Crush them before their influence grows further." "But Chancellor," the technician added nervously, "the broadcast has already reached systems we cannot control. Their fleets are asking questions. Some leaders are hesitating." Aurelian's eyes narrowed. "Then we must act faster. Humanity must be silenced before their courage spreads." Meanwhile, on Earth, Ward organized the survivors to rebuild communication infrastructure. "Dr. Hale," Ward said, "we can't rely on the old arrays alone. We need to make our message unstoppable." Hale nodded. "We have parts, old satellites still in orbit. If we repair them, we can create a relay network. Even if the Alliance strikes again, the message will survive." Sarah added, "We'll need more hands, more engineers. Some of the survivors are trained in old technology, but it will take days." Ward clenched his fists. "Then we start today. No matter the cost, we make sure the galaxy knows humanity's will cannot be crushed." The survivors, inspired by Ward's words, moved with purpose. Engineers crawled through tunnels to reconnect generators. Children carried supplies, learning the rhythms of human resilience. Even the elderly offered guidance, sharing knowledge passed down before the war. In orbit, Alliance ships returned for reconnaissance. A small squadron hovered above Earth, observing the reconstruction. Commander Yalrix scanned the surface. "Captain, humans are rebuilding. They are alive and they are broadcasting again." Aboard the flagship, Aurelian's wings flared as she watched the live feed. "Impossible! We destroyed everything." "They are clever, Chancellor," one of her officers said. "We underestimated their resilience. They are adapting quickly." Aurelian's gaze hardened. "Then we will adapt faster. Prepare boarding teams. Prepare weapons. Humanity will learn the price of defiance." Yalrix hesitated. "But the galaxy has already heard their message. Some systems may intervene." Aurelian's eyes burned. "Then let them watch. Let the galaxy see what happens to those who defy the Alliance." Back on the ground, the first of the human orbital relays were operational. Ward watched the small screen flicker as signals shot into space, bouncing off satellites. "Captain," Sarah said, "we're getting responses." Ward leaned forward. "From where?" "Erythra, Ralk, even the minor colonies in the Epsilon system," Sarah reported. "They're asking for more information, trying to understand how humanity survived." Ward smiled faintly. "Then our message is no longer ours alone. It belongs to the galaxy. The spark is lit." Dr. Hale looked over his shoulder at the survivors working tirelessly. "Captain, if the Alliance attacks again, we may not survive physically. But the broadcast cannot be destroyed." Ward placed a hand on Hale's shoulder. "That's the point, Marcus. The human spirit cannot be destroyed. Even in the darkest hour, one voice can echo through the stars." The galaxy began to shift. News of human survival traveled quickly, carried by traders, explorers, and rogue freighters. Across the stars, whispers of defiance spread. Some species began questioning the Alliance's absolute power. Small uprisings occurred in colonies where humans had once traded. Hope, a fragile thing, began to bloom. On Earth, Ward looked at the survivors. "They will come for us again," he said quietly. A young engineer working on a satellite relay spoke up. "Then we will be ready. We have each other, and now the galaxy knows we exist." Ward nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. "Yes, today we fight with words. Tomorrow we may fight with action, but no matter what, the galaxy will remember humanity." Above them, the Alliance fleet paused. Reports of rebellion and doubt spread faster than the fleet could act. For the first time, the galaxy was not united against humanity. It was divided. Some watched cautiously. Others whispered of courage, endurance, and survival. Even Chancellor Aurelian felt the shift. She stared at the expanding network of human signals, realizing that destruction alone would no longer be enough. Humanity had found a way to fight without weapons, and that fight was already winning hearts. On the surface of Earth, Ward broadcast the message one last time for the night. The ruins of New York glimmered faintly with the lights of human ingenuity. Survivors stood together, their faces illuminated by the faint blue glow of relays. "This is Captain Elias Ward," he said clearly, voice firm and steady. "We are few, we are broken, but we are alive. Humanity cannot be destroyed. For as long as one of us stands, the spirit of our kind will endure. Let this be a message to the galaxy. Hope is alive. Humanity still stands, and we will rise again." The signal shot into the stars, touching every corner of known space. Traders paused their journeys to listen. Scholars recorded the transmission. Even distant worlds previously silent under the Alliance's shadow heard the echo. And somewhere far away, the galaxy began to listen. The galaxy was changing. Across distant stars and fragile colonies, whispers of humanity's survival had spread. Traders paused mid-route. Scholars debated the messages, and small fleets hesitated before enforcing the Alliance's rule. One voice, a human voice, had traveled across the void and refused to be silenced. On Earth, the survivors gathered in the ruins of old New York. Captain Elias Ward stood atop a half-collapsed building, overlooking the city as the wind carried ash and dust through the air. The sky glowed faintly with the light of distant satellites, their beams forming a fragile shield around the planet. "Captain," Sarah Kim said, adjusting the relay equipment, "we're receiving messages from other worlds. Many are offering aid, supplies, information, even small fleets willing to resist the Alliance." Ward's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. "Aid is welcome, but we must not rely on it alone. The Alliance will strike again, and next time it will be stronger." Dr. Marcus Hale stepped beside him. "Then we prepare. Today humanity has hope. Tomorrow we will ensure our survival." Ward nodded slowly. "And not just survival. We will inspire." Above the planet, the Alliance fleet hesitated. Reports of uprisings and transmissions questioning their authority reached every ship. Commander Yalrix scanned the skies, his multiple eyes widening in alarm. "Chancellor Aurelian," he called through the command channel, "humanity is rallying. The colonies are questioning our orders. Some fleets are refusing engagement." Aurelian's wings flared with anger. "Impossible! Humans were broken." Every system reported them extinct. "They were," Yalrix said carefully. "Until they showed the galaxy they are still alive." Aurelian stared at the holographic displays. Red dots showed human survivors and their communications arrays. Blue lines spread outward, signals reaching distant systems. The Chancellor's cold exterior faltered for the first time. She realized a truth she had never expected. Humanity's spirit could not be crushed by force alone. "Then we adapt," she whispered, her voice low but determined. "If we cannot destroy them, we must contain them." On Earth, Ward and his team prepared for the possibility of another assault. The survivors moved with precision, setting up defenses, connecting satellites, and fortifying underground tunnels. Every hand contributed, from the youngest child carrying messages to the elderly teaching strategy. Sarah checked the surface monitors. "Captain, all defenses are ready. Shields are functioning, turrets are online, relays are fully operational." Ward's lips curved into a small smile. "Then let's show them what humanity can do when one voice becomes many." Dr. Hale adjusted the central transmitter. "Captain, if we broadcast again, the galaxy will hear everything. Our resolve, our story, our warning. Some may join us, others may hesitate, but it will not go unnoticed." Ward looked at the horizon, smoke curling from distant ruins. "Do it. Make them hear it." The broadcast began. From Earth, the human voice traveled across space, clear and unwavering. It spoke of survival, resilience, and unity. It told of people who refused to bow to fear, who rebuilt their cities amidst rubble, and who continued to reach for the stars. The words carried across the galaxy. We are humans. We have faced fire, destruction, and despair. But we endure. We rise. We fight. And we will never vanish. Let the galaxy hear it. Humanity still stands. In faraway colonies, listeners paused. Some gasped, some smiled, some shared the message with their neighbors. One small fleet, inspired by courage alone, turned its course to aid humanity. Traders carried supplies. Scholars shared knowledge. Humanity's echo became a ripple, and the ripple became a wave. Chancellor Aurelian's fleet moved to strike again, but hesitation spread among her ranks. Systems under her control began reporting unrest. Even her closest allies questioned the morality of attacking a species so defiant. Chancellor, one officer whispered, they are rallying support. We may not have enough ships to enforce our orders. Aurelian's gaze burned. Then we must choose carefully, strike only if we must. But humanity must not be allowed to inspire others. Yet the more she tried to control, the more humans and their allies adapted. Out of necessity, ingenuity, and sheer determination, humanity's survival network spread across space, connecting survivors, allies, and new friends. On Earth, Ward gathered his team in the command chamber beneath the city. They will come, again, he said quietly. But they will not find what they expect. Humanity has learned. We have hope. We have allies. And most of all, he paused, letting the words sink in. We have each other. The survivors nodded, faces determined. Among them were engineers, soldiers, scholars, and even children who had grown up underground. Every one of them understood that survival was not enough. They were here to reclaim their place in the galaxy. Dr. Hale stepped forward. Captain, we have the communications ready. We can keep sending messages indefinitely. Even if they destroy one array, others will continue. Humanity's voice cannot be silenced. Ward's eyes gleamed. Then let them hear it everywhere. The signals shot into orbit, bouncing to distant worlds. Traders recorded them. Diplomats shared them. Fleets listened in disbelief. Humanity's message, in a voice of courage, defiance, and hope, spread faster than weapons ever could. In orbit, the Alliance fleet hesitated again. Ships slowed. Communications went silent as officers debated. Some argued that humanity's courage demanded respect, not destruction. Others feared rebellion. Commander Yalrix looked at the Chancellor. They are not just surviving. They are inspiring. Every system hears them. They are no longer alone. The galaxy is listening. Aurelian's wings flared in frustration. Then we wait, contain them as best we can. But humanity, they cannot be crushed with fear alone. Days passed and Earth's survivors continued their work. The planet, though scarred, began to bloom again. Small plants grew amidst the ruins, rivers flowed through once burned valleys, and humans walked the streets with hope. Their messages reached every corner of the galaxy. Other species, inspired by courage alone, began to resist the Alliance's overreach. Small uprisings occurred on distant planets. Traders refused to deliver weapons. Scholars debated policies. Humanity had sparked something bigger than survival, a movement. Ward stood on the rebuilt platform of the old United Nations building. Children ran nearby, carrying supplies and helping repair communications towers. Adults worked tirelessly. Survivors laughed softly, sharing stories of the old world and dreams of the new. Sarah approached, adjusting a relay. Captain, we're receiving replies. Multiple systems want to help. Ward's eyes shone with quiet pride. Then let them see. Let the galaxy know that humanity's spirit cannot be extinguished. Not by fire, not by war, not by fear. The night sky over Earth burned with light. Satellites, communications arrays, and small human ships moving in precise formation. It was a signal of life, resilience, and defiance. Every pulse told a story. Humans refused to vanish. Ward, looked out at the stars, knowing the Alliance would return eventually. But he was not afraid. The galaxy had heard them. Humanity had become more than survivors. They had become a symbol of courage, hope, and the power of a single voice to change the universe. Dr. Hale placed a hand on Ward's shoulder. "You did it, Captain. Humanity is alive, and it's stronger than ever." Ward smiled. "No, Marcus, we all did it. Every one of us. Humanity's strength is not in one ship, one captain, or one city. It's in every heart that refuses to give up. And now the galaxy knows it." The survivors cheered quietly, looking up at the stars. Somewhere out there, across countless systems, other voices echoed the message, inspired by courage alone. Humanity's voice had become an unbroken chain, connecting worlds and lighting hope in even the darkest corners of the galaxy. Ward raised his fist toward the sky. "We stand, we endure, we rise, humanity still stands." The message, simple and powerful, traveled faster than any weapon. Across the stars, it carried the truth of the human spirit. No matter the odds, no matter the destruction, no matter the darkness, humanity will always stand. And in that moment, the galaxy understood. The celebration may have been stopped cold, but a single human voice had echoed across the universe, and it would never be silenced.